What's up, everybody, and welcome to Rock Video Rental. I am Caleb, and if you've been with us long enough and you know what that means when you hear my voice instead of Brandon's, that means that I am going solo this week. Brandon has got the bug that has been going around. My family actually got hit with it earlier this week as well, so he is not able to join us, but we do need to wrap up our awesomely bad movie month as we are breaking into the 400 episodes. Going to be 401 this time, as we will be, I will be talking about Ninja 3, The Domination. But before that, real quick, touching briefly on what I have been watching this weekly, it actually is beneficial because this week I actually did watch something because I was still on vacation a little bit there. And so I was able to have a few days once we got back home, and I decided to rewatch something I've talked about on the show before. Don't do a lot with animes. I want to, but I just don't get around to it. So I actually went back and watched something I've seen before, and that is the show Solo Leveling. It has 2 seasons. I think it's a really excellent show. Can't really say too much about comparing it to other animes, but very good, very enjoyable. Just had a really good time going back and watching that. So if somebody wants to get into animes and hasn't watched animes, I think that that's a good one to start with. Works pretty well. I've seen a few other ones and they do get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more complex, but Solo Leveling is a good one. There's supposed to be a new season. Supposedly, I think it might be next year at the earliest, they're saying. So, but outside of that, it is March Madness. We're on the doorsteps of April here, but it's still March. And so there's basketball games going on right now, actually. So I've been watching some of those. But other than that, not a whole lot. So I hope as the weather is getting warmer for most of our listeners, at least, that people are able to spend a little bit more time outside. The sun's finally coming out in Michigan for us. So it is becoming warmer, is becoming brighter. People aren't as grumpy. But one thing that is difficult to be grumpy about is watching Ninja 3, The Domination, which I have the joy of discussing with you here shortly. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Ninja 3, The Domination came out in 1984, rated R. Now, the subject of the movie is an evil ninja attempts to avenge his death from beyond the grave by possessing an innocent woman's body. That's actually not too bad of a summary. A lot better than how they tried to describe things in the movie, I'll tell you that much. So I will try to avoid what I've done in the past when I've done solo episodes where I sometimes revert back to some of the old things that we've done years ago on the show where we would just kind of chronologically walk through the movie. That's not my plan with this. I'm just going to be touching on some things and discussing them. So, of course, first off, we do need to talk about the cast. And I am going to be terrible with this. Sho Kasugai as Yamada, Lucinda Dickey as Christy, Jordan Bennett as Secord, David Chung as Black Ninja, and James Hong as Miyashima. Yeah, that's the best you're going to get from me. Brandon's a little bit better at that than I am, but that was my best. So, yeah, relatively small cast. I mean, there were other side characters, quite a few side characters, but those were the main ones. So this was a first time watch for me. I can't remember if Brandon's seen it or not. I guess he'll be able to touch on that next time. But the first thing off with my design background choice is the choice of font for the movie. I thought was rather funny, very cliche Asian style font for a ninja movie there. But it was right off the get-go. It was just jumping right into things. It didn't really stage set the stage for the movie too much, because this is one thing that I was confused by the whole time, and even at the end, maybe I missed something, and I will have to ask Brandon next time. But there was no explanation for why the ninja went to the golf course to kill the original guy in the first place. I don't know, seemed kind of like a politician or maybe some kind of like company CEO or something. He just went after somebody to kill him. I didn't know if it was supposed to be like an assassination. I didn't know if the ninja was a good guy, the politician looking guy was a bad guy, or vice versa. No context, just that this ninja was trying to kill him and then decided to kill everybody else in the process. So the whole movie, I was trying to figure out what was going on with that until, man, trying to think at what point in the movie they kind of finally explained to you that the ninja was bad. Because yes, the ninja was killing a bunch of people, but you're just like, okay, are the cops bad guys? Is this like a police station that has like a crime problem? What's happening here? And it wasn't later until um, Christy, as the ninja, was starting to kill, and she was killing like innocent people in the process. Because really, at the beginning, the ninja killed the politician guy and his girlfriend and the bodyguards, and then police officers. So you're kind of like, okay, were all those bad people? Is this like a corrupt system? What's going on? And then Lucinda, oh my gosh, Lucinda. Why was I saying Lucinda? I guess I might be jumping back and forth between the actress's name and the character's name. Um, she started killing some of the police officers. So to that point, you're kind of like, okay, so are the police officers bad? But then she starts killing innocent people too. So that's when you finally kind of get that. They finally kind of inform you, okay, the ninja's bad and some kind of evil spirit. And then they go in and talking about that actually in the dialogue of the movie too. Really drawn out, really poor execution, in my opinion, of that. It caused so much confusion for so long. There were so many things confusing about this movie, which I will definitely get to. I think another thing to reinforce that is the relationship that she was having between her and her police officer boyfriend. Was it Secord? I don't know. I can't remember his first name actually, so I didn't write it down. And actually, these pictures of the cast are not really doing any favors, so could totally be butchering it. But let's just say her boyfriend. So her boyfriend, before they started dating, she was acting like she hated his guts, like she didn't want anything to do with the police officers, that she hated him, that she despised him. He shows up to her aerobics class. They talk, she has a fight, she gets in his car, like they hang out, and then all of a sudden there's no explanation for it, but then she starts flirting with him. Like as soon as the point of he's ready to be done with her, she all of a sudden decides, oh, I kind of like you. And shortly thereafter, the most notorious scene probably from the movie, because I actually had seen this before this movie and not realized this was a part of it, but where they are having their romantic, intimate moment, and she decides to take V8 and pour it on her for him to lick off of her, which was a weird choice. I think that might have purposely been done to instill in the idea that she is a very healthy minded person and she has a very strict diet. And so they decided to use V8 instead of countless other things. I don't know. But again, so many weird things in this movie that just don't make sense. Wanting to talk about more weird things that don't make sense, jumping back to kind of the beginning of the movie as we're developing all of this, is the rock, the glowing rock in the cave. Somehow we're just having glowing rocks, and I guess that's supposed to be mystical, magical, something. But apparently, ninjas have bases in America, and they have secret lair caves like Batman And that's apparently a thing. So that was also interesting to learn. Um, it did start off with some pretty fun chaos and awesomely bad content because during the original fight, when he's fighting the bodyguards and the police officers, he does a blow dart where he shoots into the barrel of a revolver. Just classic move. It was rather entertaining. It went on forever, but the funny thing to me was during that whole part is that the ninja, supposedly this super powered evil ninja, really sucked at being a ninja because ninjas are supposed to be stealthy and be able to disappear and everything. And that was 5% of what he was doing. 10% maybe. Most of it was running out in the wide open and just having people chase him. So, good for them. I just thought that was kind of like an interesting choice. I mean, that gave him the opportunity for a bunch of people to chase him and for him to kill a bunch of people, but um yeah, everything was just moving so fast at the beginning, just so much chaos. And it was the good kind of chaos that you want in an awesomely bad movie of just like cops coming out of nowhere, flying across a golf course. I thought one of the more interesting, you could maybe call it impressive parts was the ninja climbing the palm tree and hiding in the top of the palm tree because that was more realistic and believable. And I thought he was going to be stealthy ninja hiding in the tree and then he was going to disappear and the cops were going to go away. But no, then he went from there and he just jumped onto an helicopter and started kicking people out of it and caused them to do the horrendous fake helicopter explosion behind the mountain, which I mean, I get it. That was a smart execution without having to actually blow up a bunch of stuff. So, but it just, I had down in my notes just pure absurdity. So, um, and before moving on to anything else, it definitely cannot get past the end part, which is one of the more important parts. Not exactly where the ninja gets killed, but he basically gets decimated. The cops surround him in a very small, kind of tight circle, and they just start shooting the crap out of him, pointing their guns at each other. Like countless times when they were shooting him, they would have been shooting each other from across the field, wherever they were, whatever. They were pointing their guns and shooting towards each other, which I just thought was hilarious and laughable. And they shot him so many times, so many times. And then he faked being dead multiple times. And then he throws his little smoke grenade thing to disappear. And all he does is like sift under the sand and hide there for a little bit. And then somehow he hobbles away. Somehow. Um, the I think I'll the death and the changing over of the whole ninja thing again when I'm watching this I'm trying to figure out, okay, is the ninja good or bad? What is actually happening here? And so he finds Christie's character and comes across her as he's like dying trying to escape, and then he like somehow kind of like curses her. It's really weird and kind of dumb. I guess like his evil spirit was like captivating her, taking her over, but like he attacks her. She tries to run away and then she stops and comes back and he draws a sword. And one would normally think, hey, a dude just tried attacking you and now he has a sword. It might not be the smartest thing to go back to him after he just killed you, or not killed you, but attacked you. Now that he has a drawn weapon. So the evil spirit passes from him to her, and that's where the whole domination comes from. I don't know, but she gets taken over. Um, it's this movie as a whole is chaos entertaining, but it has quite a few slow parts, and the acting is just so bizarre sometimes. I don't think there was really anyone who was very successful in this movie with acting. I wouldn't really give anybody any thumbs up or accolades for anything. But there are a lot of things in this that make me think of Miami Connection. Miami Connection for me is far superior just from an entertainment value. It has a little more awesomely bad elements to it, but this was an interesting one to watch. But I must say, I don't know if you go back to it, I don't know if this one might have more action, quote unquote, than Miami Connection. That'd be actually kind of interesting to compare. But yeah, I mean, it's an 80s movie, so there's plenty to appreciate even still with it being awesomely bad. All the 80s, obviously not references, but things that you can see from the 80s that just kind of make you chuckle. There's nothing more 80s than aerobics. So, and for whatever reason, that gym looked like they took someone's grandma's house and just converted it into a gym. It looked like it had shag carpet and like dreary curtains. Like it was a very weird and unique setup. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that, but I already talked about how Christy and her boyfriend start their relationship by like hating each other, not liking each other, and then getting together, and super confusing. But apparently, the first night, like they just stay together, sleep together, and then she wakes up and is drawn to the sword in her closet. And the funny thing to me is like first night staying together at her place, she wakes up and she's playing with a sword in her closet, and the dude wakes up like wouldn't that be concerning? Wouldn't that be a red flag? Like, I couldn't imagine in any circumstances, like when I was in the dating game and everything, if I spent the night somewhere and I woke up and the person I was with was holding a weapon, not, it doesn't even matter that they're not directly above me, but they're in the same room holding a weapon. Like, alarm bells should be going off, should be very concerning. Like, what the heck? Oh, and side note, her boyfriend was one very hairy dude. So that was quite the hair job there. Probably somewhat related to Chewbacca or something there with all that body hair. So um it it was pretty, as far as awesomely bad movies go, it had some things going for it where it had some continuity, some cohesiveness to it, from the aspect of the music fit, and it was edited relatively well. Not so bad that you couldn't get a grasp on anything. Like I said, there were definitely plot holes and things of that nature, but we have seen plenty of other horrible bad movies and awesomely bad movies. But yeah, this one, I feel like there's not a lot, there's kind of a lot in the middle where it's just stuff. Like she's trying to kill people. She gets possessed. She gets unpossessed. They do try to get her unpossessed by taking her to some guy in Chinatown, which fails epically. But the demon like comes out, and so then her boyfriend sees it and knows that this is like a real deal. And that was kind of interesting and entertaining, where they were trying to do some special effects with that. They did actually have some special effects at different points in this movie. Later in the movie, when the spirit actually leaves Christy and goes back to the ninja's dead body, there was some CGI, and honestly, the CGI may have been better than some of the things that you saw in the Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s. May have been on par with it, and this was years and years before. So one thing that I realized that I haven't really even talked about up until this point is the second ninja, the other guy who shows up, and it's still in the point in the movie that you don't know what's going on, so you don't know if this guy's the bad guy or the good guy. I guess we can call him Eye Patch Ninja because he's got a very unusual eye patch over his left eye that apparently was from the quote unquote what we know as the evil ninja throwing a ninja star into his face. So, but of course, it's all a part of the whole thing of us trying to figure out what's going on, and we have to wait until progression to figure out exactly what's happening. And so, yeah, it's a fun puzzle. You get to find out for yourself and not get every answer that you're looking for. Some movies can do that and it's done well and tastefully and it leaves you intrigued. This movie does it and it leaves you confused and labeling it as awesomely bad. So I think it all kind of comes to the headway and really where things come to the climax. I mean, there's the part where the boyfriend realizes that Christy is the one who's going around and attacking and kind of killing people. And then that is because she showed up at the funeral for one of the police officers. And he was kind of like her boyfriend was piecing things together at that point. And we get another epic fighting scene where it's a ninja doing ridiculous stuff that normally they wouldn't do because she's not even being stealthy about it. Her bow and arrow skills are quite impressive, of course. But then the eye patch ninja shows up and tries hunting her down, and she goes through, and they have their own little mini epic battle in this abandoned house, which you get to see some pretty awesome stuff where he's walking through and trying to figure out where she is, and she's just like hanging up in the rafters, like a foot above her head. But of course, nobody looks up when they're looking for a ninja because why would you? Who would ever think of a ninja to do that? But then you get things like punching through walls, punching through floors, jumping through floors, like jumping 12 feet in the air from one floor to another. But then you can't even walk upstairs while somebody's throwing stuff down the stairs to make you trip. You know, simple logic, you know, things that make complete sense when you're talking about superhuman people, amazing athletic ninjas, simple things that they can't do. So they have their own tussle there, but it all really does come to the pinnacle when they go to the temple on the mountaintop, I think is how they refer to it. And the eye patch ninja is already there waiting for her. He brought the dead body of the ninja, which conveniently for them hasn't been too long, so it's not decomposing. But definitely would have rigor mortis and things like that. So didn't account for that. She shows up and they have like this very short, small tussle. And when she's defeated rather quickly, she like gives up the ghost, the ninja ghost, and it goes back to the body of the dead ninja, which is very interesting. So everything revolves around this specific ninja guy. I don't like exactly understand how it works and why like he was able to pass his ghost off to someone else and why he went back to the dead body instead of going to someone else and how he couldn't take over the good ninja with the eye patch, you know, just a bunch of holes and things that just don't make sense where they just used it however they wanted to. Because the next interesting thing, being at this temple, there are monks up there and they had the evil ninja somehow like possess them or have them attack the good ninja. At which that point, see, this makes more sense too, where showing the good versus the bad. The good ninja wouldn't kill anyone; he just tried to knock them out. We finally get to see that and get some clarification, help supporting evidence, I guess you would say, at the end of the movie, where he gets to be a good ninja because he's actually not killing anyone. But they have their fight there. In the temple, the evil ninja tries to get away by exiting the temple, and the eye patch ninja chases him. And the whole speculation of the movie about the climax of the movie that the eye patch good ninja with the eye patch explains is that a ninja can only be killed by a ninja. Because we hear that all the time, apparently. Which doesn't even work out for two reasons. One, The original ninja, the evil ninja, died because he got shot 50 million times by the cops and it died. That's not death by a ninja from one ninja to another. And then at the end, the resolution is that Christie grabs the sword that was dropped and stabs the evil ninja herself, which helps finish him and kill him. I don't think it was the final blow, but still, like that was a factor and everything. So she didn't even kill Ninja. So really, that whole foundation of what they were setting up for the climax of the movie didn't even make sense. They didn't even support it in their own movie. I mean, how bad does it have to be that you set this premise up and you don't even support it in your own movie? Come on, guys, take notes, pay attention. Got to do stuff like that. So, so that winds up being the end of the movie, and then that's it. Like the ninja dies. There's like an earthquake. Tries to come back to life. Ninja dies. Good ninja with the eye patch just basically does a little salute to Christy and her boyfriend, and heads out and disappears. And Christy and her boyfriend are like, "Oh, yay, everything's okay now." Yeah. So that's one way to end a movie, I guess. But that is a decent summary and review of Ninja 3, The Domination. Why The Domination? Not entirely sure. Like Ninja 3, The Possession? I don't know Ninja 1 and Ninja 2 really, so I don't exactly know. I mean, maybe this guy was featured in the other ones. I kind of have a feeling that he wasn't. I don't even know what the connections are directly. Like if it was just somebody making another movie, kind of how we have Troll 2 and that nonsense. Awesomely bad movies and series like this seem to happen all the time. So Brandon may have had more information about that, but unfortunately, I'm not the one who does the trivia and facts. I do have, I think, one thing here to discuss at the end. So let me bring that up here so that I include it in our content. So, yeah, trivia. So Lucinda Dickey um, actually had this was the first film of what was supposed to be a 5 movie deal for her because someone participating in the movie wanted her to be a star really badly. And the other deals that were a part of it were Breakin' 1984, Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo 1984, and then other planned movies were Breakin' 3, King Solomon's Mines, and the sequel to that movie, which is Alan Quartermain and the Lost City of Gold. The those last 3 films did not wind up happening because apparently she felt that both her and Canon Films were tired of working with each other, and so they called it quits. Don't know exactly how that contract worked out that way, but that was part of that. Another thing listed that I forgot to mention, but it's kind of here, not really in trivia and facts, but more so as a goof. But at the beginning, the evil ninja who was running around from the cops at the golf course jumped off a helicopter into the water, and then moments later, after getting out of the water, was completely dry. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about that part. So just another hilarious continuity problem there with the movie. So, but let's go ahead and talk about grades for this fantastic film. IMDb, usually I kind of guess these, but obviously I have to share them. So IMDb comes in rather surprising. I'm surprised this is over 5. Comes in at 5.4. I really probably would have guessed somewhere in the 4 range, maybe the high 3, but yeah, very interesting there and surprised with that one. If we move over to the Rotten Tomatoes, the critics actually makes a lot more sense because it comes in at 33. That's kind of where I would expect things to be. But honestly, the audience score matches up very closely to IMDb and comes in at 53%. I do not have anything for the box office information. I don't know if that's something that Brandon might be able to share with us when he's back next week before we go into that episode. So, but final thoughts and review. I mean, who doesn't like an awesomely bad ninja movie? Now, this one was relatively limited in the entertainment factor and how much of a good time I had with it, just because it was so spread out. It did have some levels of just chaos or absolute absurdity that kept you entertained, but there was a good portion in the middle where it was just kind of like, okay, like let's get something going here, or just made you think too much for a movie that wasn't worth going that deep with. So it has some rewatchability. Definitely, there are plenty of other movies that I would rewatch before this one if I wanted to watch an awesomely bad movie. But it's not too bad. I wound up coming in with a 3.5 out of 5. So something worth watching. Definitely worth a watch. If anybody enjoys an awesomely bad movie, definitely worth a watch. Some people might find enough value in it to watch it again and again. So, as always, though, we do appreciate you all checking in and listening to our content. Awesomely Bad is a staple of this podcast. And so I know it's always a bummer when we have to do episodes solo, but things happen from time to time. So happy to do it. We are going to be doing, I actually have to bring up the planner and see what next month is. Oh, well, next month is going to be an exciting one. We are doing an actor highlight month, and next month's actor is Nicolas Cage. So we've got Nicolas Cage month. That's going to be awesome. Plenty of excellent Nicolas Cage movies. I don't know what the final four are, but if I'm not mistaken from looking at this, the first one that should be on the list is a classic, possibly. No, probably not his most popular, but definitely one that comes to mind for me. Maybe whenever you say his name, might be the first one that comes to my mind, and that's Con Air. So excellent film. Looking forward to that one. If you guys are liking the show and liking the content, we do have other things on other platforms like YouTube, some things on TikTok and Twitter as well. So you can go ahead and check those out. We do have rockvideorental.com that has where it kind of puts a lot of links to most everything that we have. So don't forget to follow and like the show on the different platforms. That is truly greatly appreciated. We love doing what we're doing and love that other people enjoy it as well. So we hope you have a fantastic week. And as always, be kind and rewind.